Hello, hello. Hey, Shelly. Just tying these off. I was using my hoop stand on my desk today, so now I have to fix it. Okay. Are we ready for French knots? We're going to practice French knots before we do them. Let me find a good scrap of thread. Let's go green. Okay. Let me see how many strands there are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Okay. Look, we've got gray too. All right. So French knots. Look different depending on how many strands you use and how many times you wrap it. So we're just going to make a little grid. Okay. So if we have 3 strands, 6 strands, 1 wrap, 2 wrap, 3 wrap is what that means. Hey, Christy, you made it. Welcome to the last. Well, I'll still do one more because I'm not going to finish the back of the hoop today. Okay, so I'm going to start with 3 and we'll go from there. Let me zoom. Okay. French knots are one of my favorite things. And I don't hate Colonial knots as much as I used to. We're going to talk about them tonight too. Okay, so French knots. We're going to come up from the back. We're going to wrap it around our needle 1 time. And then we're going to go back down, not in the same hole, but next to the same hole. Okay, let me zoom in so I can keep this down here. Okay, we're going to wrap it 1 time. We're going to go back down right next to it. We're going to slide our thread all the way to the bottom of our needle, and then we'll pull our needle through. Once it's to about here, you can let go and pull it through. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to wrap it twice. So 1 wrap, 2 wrap. We're going to go down next to the hole, not in the same hole. Slide our knot to the bottom and then push our needle through. Okay, same thing with 3. I don't normally recommend wrapping more than 3 times because it will make your knot really funky. So we're going to slide that to the bottom. Okay. So now I'll show you, okay, let me tie this off and then I'll show you with 6 strands. If you've never done French knots, this is a great way to practice French knots and then kind of get an idea of what size you like. So making a grid, you can have like 1 strand, 2 strand, 3 strand, 4 strand, 5 strand, 6 strand. Like you could get crazy on here. We're not going to do that, but you can if you want. Okay, so with 6 strands, we're going to wrap once, go down next to it, slide our knot to the bottom, and then pull our needle through. Okay, so look at this size difference from 3 strands to 6 strands. Like this is almost the same size as this. Okay. 2 wraps. And then same here. These are similarly sized. This is a little bit bigger. Okay, so there's your size difference depending on how many strands. But do you see how when you start to wrap it like 3 times, do you see how like puffy that is? Like you can see like how flat this one is, and then as you wrap it more times, it like raises it off the fabric. So anyways, there is French knots. Let me show you Colonial knots as well. And then we'll start doing some French knots on our wreaths. Let me put this gray in. Let me see how many strands are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm just gonna do 3. So Colonial knots are only gonna change in size if you use more or less strands. So I'm going to show you 3. No, I'm going to show you 6 first, and then I'll show you 3, just because I have this short scrap and I want to have enough to do the 6. So most people, if they don't like French knots, they do like Colonial knots. So a Colonial knot is just a little different. So what we're going to do is make, let's see. Okay, hang on. I always have to think about it. We make a backwards C. Now I can't remember. Hold on. Let me do it off screen while you guys aren't staring at me. That's not right. There we go. Okay. Sorry. I haven't done one for a while and I was feeling the pressure. Okay. So you make a backwards C like that. Okay. And then you bring your needle up this way and loop it. And then you're going to loop your thread this way. Whoop. Hold on. Like that. So then you create like an infinity sign or a figure 8. Okay. Oh my gosh. Now I'm like all mixed up. Okay. Trying again. Okay. So we're going to go up and then we're going to flip this one over it. Okay. And then we're going to create that knot, bring it to the bottom and put it through. I'm sorry, that was super confusing. I will do more, don't worry. Okay, so the thing I like about these is that they all turn out really uniform. So they'll all look this exact same. Where French knots, I feel like it's harder to create them to be all the exact same. These ones almost always will look all the same. So we're going to go make our backwards C. We're going to lift that up, go over the top, create that figure 8 right there. Pull that snug and then go through the fabric. Okay, let me show you with 3 strands. But do you see how similar those are? They're like same size, same shape. Okay, so 3 strands. So we've got, whoop, that backwards C. So we're gonna lift that up, flip it over the top, create that figure 8, and go back down. See, so the size difference is determined by how many strands you're using. Where French knots, you can just wrap it more and make them bigger. So we'll do that one more time. So we've got backwards C. We're gonna lift that up, go over the top so we have a figure 8, go back down. There we go. Okay. That's it. That's Colonial Knots for you, and French knots. So what we're gonna do is, if you've never done French knots before, I'm going to recommend that you practice on Santa's beard or on your, just like on a piece of scrap. Like this is just like a little 3-inch hoop. But Santa's beard is going to be messy, so it doesn't matter if they look a little crazy. But there's not really anywhere that's going to have like messy French knots on this one. So I'm going to do some on Santa's beard, and then I'll move and do some on the winter one. I'll do like the face on the snowman. And then I'm going to let you decide where you want to put French knots on your own hoops. I will post in the stories later tonight where I'm planning on putting some. And then you can be free to do them wherever you want. So let me get this in my hoop stand, and then let's start doing some knots. Okay, I've got to move this out of my way. Okay, there's our Santa. You can add some sparkle with his beard if you want. I'm just gonna do just white. But somebody, who did I post the other day that did sparkle in it? No, I can't remember. Somebody did, and it was really cute. What, honey?
I want me turtle.
You want McDonald's?
No, I want me turtle.
Oh, you want to make cookie dough?
Yeah.
Okay, when I'm done doing this, I will make cookie dough with you.
Hey, that was mine.
Okay, take that with you.
I did that.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to use all 6 strands because I like 6 strands for French knots. especially if I'm going to do like big fluffy French knots. So I'm going to make big, loose, fluffy ones. I'm going to start up by actually, you know what? If you're practicing, kind of start in the middle. So then you can like work around it because they won't be as noticeable if they're messy in the middle. So we're going to wrap 3 times, and then I'm going to keep this pretty loose. I'm going to pull this down, but I'm not going to pull it very tight because that will create like this big, loose, fluffy French knot. So I'm not going to do all of them that big and fluffy, but I'm going to do a bunch of them, and then I can go back and fill it in with some tighter ones. So I'm wrapping 3 times and just keeping these really loose. So if you're having a hard time with French knots, you can do a looser colonial knot as well. Let me just show you one. I don't think they look quite as good as like a fluffy French knot, but if you just leave that loose, like it works, but it's not my favorite. But if these end up being messy, it's a beard, so it's not a big deal if they're messy. I think that this is one of the greatest ways to learn French knots. This or like flower centers, I really like to practice French knots in flower centers as well, because they can just be like whatever. And then every once in a while, your thread is going to start to like get all twisted. So just drop your needle and let it untwist under your hoop, and then you can use it again. If it starts to get too twisted, then these loose French knots are going to get like, they won't be like loose and fluffy. They'll just be like loose, tightly twisted threads. Oop. So if turkey work was feeling really stressful for you for Santa's hat, you can do French knots. Okay, so sometimes I get these French knots that are like, do you see how loose those are? Like how crazy they are? So sometimes I'll go in like on the edge of the French knot, and especially on these loose ones, it's easy, but you can just grab those and go down in the middle of the French knot and like tack that down. So if your French knots are bugging you, they're really hard to take out because they're all connected. So I'll sometimes just go in and like tack them down, which I don't normally do that like with like a beard or a bush or something like that. Like if I'm doing like a house or something, I don't normally tack them down until I'm done, because most of the time I can just fill in knots around it and it will be fine. So, but I'm just letting you know, if you get one, don't feel like your world has come to an end. You can still fix it. Okay, so let me tie this off and get another piece. I'm going to do some up by Santa's head, and then I think I'll let you do the rest of his beard on your own. What, honey? Okay. Go in the bathroom. Yeah, ask Gemma to help you. Okay, I already have 4 strands here, so I'm just going to use these 4 because I don't want to get more thread off my skein. Gemma, what? Can you go help Roman in the bathroom, please? Okay.
What do you need help with?
He needs help getting in the bath.
In the bath?
Yeah, will you start him a bath? Thanks, babe. So I'm going to do these a little bit tighter because they're like his hair. But I just want like where his, like kind of like sideburns where his hair and his beard meet. So I'm just going to do these like pretty tight and 2 wraps. Sorry, it's kind of in a shadow. And then I'll go along his face a little. So I don't want to get these knots too close to his nose because it'll cover up his nose. So kind of, because they'll fluff out a little. So I kind of do them a little bit further away and then tack them down on the other side. Because if they're not close enough, you can always like do a stitch like right next to his nose. Whoops. And like pull this over a little and tack it down so it's like right next to his nose, but then it's not like covering up his nose. So cute. Thanks, Amanda. It's Amanda, right? I try and remember names with with Instagram handles, and sometimes I am not good at it. So I'm just going to do these one next to his head, and then I'm going to move on. Is he good, Gemma?
Where's the plug?
What plug?
For the,
Oh, for the tub?
Yeah.
It's probably in the toys.
Okay.
Go look on all the shelves and then in the toys. Yes, excellent. All right. I think that's all. So I'm just gonna go, when I finish this, I'll just go in and just fill this whole space with French knots. If you see some spaces like right here, there's like a small space.
It's not in there either.
Okay. Will you ask Lincoln to help you? See if he can find it.
Lincoln?
I'll just go in and do a smaller French knot in there. So anyways, then it like makes them all like different sizes and stuff. So if you want to like fill in gaps, I usually do a whole bunch of big ones and then I'll go back with less strands or with just like 2 wraps instead of 3 wraps and just put some smaller ones in there. If you get a knot when you're pulling this through, just pull it back out a little and then go back. It should be fine. Okay, so there's our Santa. Okay, let's do our snowman and then we'll go from there. Oh my gosh, I didn't tie this off either. Did they find it, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. I still didn't finish this mug, you guys. It's been a week. It's cute though. Okay, so snowman eyes and mouth, we're gonna use black. It's DMC 310. Oh, I guess I should put this in here, shouldn't I? All right, so we're gonna do some eyes and a mouth. So decide where you want your eyes. I'm going to do 6 strands with 3 wraps. Oops, let's see. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to keep them a little bit loose. I want these to be a little bit tighter. I don't like where that one's going. If you don't like something with a knot, pull your needle out before you pull it through the fabric, and you can redo it. So like you can put it like this, and if you don't like it, then pull this needle back out. Okay, and then we're gonna do a mouth. So I'm gonna do the mouth a little bit smaller than his eyes, so I'm just gonna do 2. And I really like things in odd numbers, so I'm gonna start in the middle and then move out, just so that it's a little bit balanced. So that's 2 wraps. I'll do one on this side. Oh, come on, needle. Okay, this one is a little bit funny, so I'm gonna go back and like tack it down. Look how cute he is! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, friends, that's it. So, I would say go ahead and finish everything and then decide where you think needs more. Hang on. What, Roman? Gemma, go help him, please. So like and before I add anything else, I'll also erase my lines. So depending on what you used to do your, to draw your pattern on, if you used a Pilot Friction pen, Roman needs some help. I think he just needs the water turned off. So if you use one of the Pilot Friction pens, you can go over this with an iron or like a heat gun, or I just use a blow dryer on high heat. Just be careful that you're not getting it too close. It might take a minute longer to have it further away, but if you get too close to like your metallic threads or your Atole thread, it'll melt it. I've had it happen. It's very devastating, so don't do that. But what I like to do is to finish this, erase my lines, and then decide if I'm going to do anything extra. So I'm thinking I'll probably do some French knots like snow around my snowflakes. And then I'm thinking I'll do some berries in here, like some red or purple. Probably red, but I'm considering doing purple. But on the pattern, I think it was these ones that are like wider apart. I have like a berry on each of their ends. So you can do that. That should like spread out the color if you want to do that. I think I'll just go in. I'll decide after I finish this and I'll post it to my stories. But I think I'm just going to do like a little bunch here and a little bunch here and a little bunch here, just like sprinkled throughout. But anyways, oh, and so yeah, going backwards for a second. So erasing your line. So if you use the heat erasable, then blow dry it. If you used a water soluble, I would leave it in the hoop, soak it in water, and then you can like rub wherever is like not coming out, just like rub it gently, and then let it dry completely. You don't want to be messing with it until it's dried completely. So just put it down, let it dry overnight. In the morning, you should be good to go. So tomorrow, I will be back and we will cut out our centers and finish our backs. If you have some hot glue, that's cool. If you don't, you can use something else, but we will do that tomorrow. So do your French knots, decide if you want any crazy ones anywhere else, and then we can finish these. So I finished my 2 commissions today. So I can finish this up tonight. I've got my mug on here, and then I've got, Santa's face. Don't forget to do Santa's face. I would do either Colonial Knots or I would do 3 strands wrapped 1 or 2 times for his eyes. And then if you want to do a mouth, you can just backstitch a mouth over top those French knots. And then I've got this to finish as well. Man, I have a lot to do still on this one. But anyways, so I'm going to do that tonight, so I'm ready for tomorrow. Let me know if you have questions before then. I'm planning on 10 a.m. tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that's like what, 9 in California. I don't know where everyone is. But anyways, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, I will be live to finish the backs of our hoops. And thank you so much for joining me. This has been so dang fun. I've just loved it, and I'm so glad that you were here for it. So let me know if you have any questions, and be sure to share. I want to see what yours looks like. So anyways, I will see you tomorrow. Good night.